All right, welcome back. We're answering a question about supervision, and I'm covering my whole time on the department. And right now I'm at 19 years. I'm working my second major squad, all new guys. And so we're asking you to send us some questions or comments. Email me at rsbcopstories@gmail.com. Okay? All right, so now I'm in a squad. We had talked about earlier about supervising people and getting people to work and all that stuff, and very challenging. Had new guys, and I teach them everything. I mean, like I said before, just like when you come out of the academy, you don't know anything. You think you know something, but you don't. You make detective, you've been on maybe 8, 9, 10 years, you don't know anything about detective work. And so you have to be taught. So these guys are there. So I'm teaching them all. Okay, so that's fine. I mean, I'm a supervisor now. That's what I do. I actually enjoyed it. Okay, so here we go. We had an opening in our squad to add an employee. Okay, so we put out a notice briefly describing our function, what you're going to be applying for. It comes out every month. There's all kinds of there's jobs for like canine, horse detail, vice, narco, all over. There's a whole 2 or 3 sheets of jobs. And what you do is if you have the right rank, and I want to go there. So you find out who the name is, you call the person, you get an oral interview, you go in there, it's all oral interviews, and then a lot of people want these jobs because it's really good jobs. And you go in there anywhere from 8 to 20 people for the same position. They usually have, these entities have oral interviews to pick who they want. Okay, so that's how you get the job. And so we put out a broadcaster on this sheet one month that we needed an employee. It had to be not a detective, it was a police officer rank. We had all detectives except for one position, and the guy that was in there promoted, so we wanted to fill it. So we put in a notice. Well, we got about a dozen applicants. Okay, so we set up every time they call, we had a date set up for an oral interview, 2 days actually, and it's going to be my boss and me giving these orals. We're going to pick the best. We're going to pick the top 3, and then those 3, we're going to pick one from them. So that way we have a backup in case someone can't make it. There's all kinds of things go on. They decide at the last minute they don't want to go or whatever. But most of the time they want to go. They want to get these guys. And being a policeman rank versus a detective rank, these are all cops that are working the street. They're working, morning watch, night watch, patrol, family disputes. They want to get out of that. They want to go work narcotics, so they want to come up and work with us, and which is I did too. But anyway, so we get I think it was about a dozen applicants. Okay, 1 lady and 11 guys. Okay, now this is trying to think of years this is going on here, because the women were coming on, but not as in great numbers as it was later on. This would be around I'm trying to guess here, 680, probably about 91, somewhere in there maybe. Yeah, 91. Something like that, 91. Okay, so we set up the board. Okay, so for the 12, we wound up really with about 6 that really had their act together. The other ones are just kind of coming in. The answers aren't really that well. We're trying to talk to them about different things, and I can't remember some of the questions, but you weed out people that really don't have the right mindset for this, and I don't know how to explain that. It's all subjective, whatever. So we really had about 6. Okay, so that we'd have, after they leave, we'd have a stack, yes and no's. No. Okay, so then at the end of the 2 days, we had 3 picked out. Okay, so then we want to have those 3 back to re-interview them, because this is an assignment that could be long term. They could be here for 5 or 6 years. There's no reason to leave unless you lose a position. But no, unless you promote. It's a good job. Take home car, detective work, really good job. For a policeman, it's excellent. Okay, so they come back in. Well, it turns out we kind of lean towards the lady, the girl, I don't know what to call them nowadays. She was very sharp, okay? Initially, the top 3, she was the top of the 3. We wanted to make sure we didn't miss anything, and we weren't being sexist. We just wanted to get the best person for the job. Came back in, interviewed all 3. They all left. We looked at each other going, she's it, man. She's tops. She's been here, she's been there, she's done that, she's done this. We have a arrest package on her, how many arrests she's made, commendations. I mean, she's top dog. Beautiful. Okay, so okay, that's good. Okay. Here we go. Okay. My first brush with politics, okay, with this lieutenant, I told you about another story that tried to interfere. It did interfere with an undercover operation, okay. So we submitted the list to him, and it normally is just he looks at it, looks at both of us, okay, we put our names at the bottom, we initial it. It's kind of an official form because it's going to go different places, and then he'll initial. He agrees with it was 1, 2, 3, top, second, and third, and he'll say, yeah, I like it, and then goes to the captain, and then they'll notify the employee, and they had to come in and take a polygraph, which is one of the things we had to do, because narcotics needs a polygraph just to weed out people that might be, I don't know what we're looking for, but anyway. So usually it's routine, more times it is. Okay, so So we gave him the list. Next day we come in, we're pretty proud of ourselves when we call down the number. We're looking pretty good, looking forward to another employee. And lieutenant calls into his room. And, what? He goes, well, here it comes. Here it comes. He goes, I got a call today from Captain so-and-so from some division. What do you think? What does that do with us? He goes, and he has a person that works for him, works for his adjutant, his sergeant adjutant. And he wants to work narcotics. And so the captain called me and said if I could kind of put in a word for him, that he wants the job. And we look at each other because, when you put out the notice that there's a job opening, there's a date that you have to submit your request by. This isn't forever. Okay, I think we put in like a Thursday, and then you have like 2 weeks to put in because it has to circulate through the department. Everybody has to see it. So that's mandated by our union rules. And so you put a cutoff date. No applications accepted after March 12th. Pick a date. Okay. Well, that date had already passed because we already gave orals. We picked this guy. So my boss goes, well, he didn't put his name in. Oh, that was an oversight. He was on vacation. Okay. Well, they always make exceptions to the rule, obviously. So it sounded fine to us. He said, okay. Well, we're gonna give him an oral. Oh, well, you really have to do that? Whew. And so my boss, and I was going to say it, but he looked at me and went like this, shaking his head, because I was all. Oh, and by the way, not only was she female, she was Latina, okay, which is, I'm not going to say it's anything racial, but it was interesting because I had one Latin in the squad, I'm Latin, and my boss is Latin, we picked a Latin lady, not because she's Latin, because she was competent, okay? Come on, it just looked that way. I'm sure it looked that way to anybody else seeing it, but we didn't even think it that way. We wanted a good, solid employee. Okay, so anyway, so he knew I was kind of upset about that. So my boss goes, well, I said, why don't you tell him that we're going to do an exception to the rule here. We'll give him an oral and see what happens. He goes, okay, well, I'll call him. Okay, and then as we're walking out, he looks at us and gives us a wink. Oh, I don't like this. He goes, well, give him the benefit of the doubt. Give us a wink. Really? This reminded me of way back in my stories, where I pull over somebody from New York. And he's handing me his license with a $50 bill behind it. I took it personal, okay? I threatened to yank us out of there and put him in jail. Take it personal, something like that, okay? It's an integrity thing. So I look, okay. And we walked out of there. He goes, you see that? We're like, okay, fine. Let's give him an oral, see what he is. Okay, fine. So the next day he was there. That's how, okay. Well, if you're that enthused, maybe he was on vacation. I don't know. He comes in, go to a room, we give him his interview. Okay. Been nowhere, done nothing. He's been inside for like 5 years doing all kinds of administrative work. And we need street cops here. We need guys. And this lady had been everywhere. This lady was a foot beat, a bicycle officer, foot beat officer. There was a unit where all they did was chase prostitutes. She was part of the team that would process them and arrest them. This gal had her crap together, man. So he goes, so he leaves, right? And he goes, well, let me know the result. I will let you know. And he was all, he thought he had it because he's got the captain behind him, okay? So and he looked like that kind of, one of those guys that say, oh, I think I'll work over there. But really, you think you'll work over there? There's a lot of hurdles you have to go through before you think you'll work over there? You have to come through me and my party before you work over there. Anyway, so he left, okay? So now the lieutenant comes in, hey, we go in there. What do you think? My boss goes, there was 12 on the list? He's 13. What? He would look on his face. He goes, no. He looks at me. No, he's not good. Not good at all. He wouldn't make the first cut. He wouldn't make the top 6. He's not that good. He's a squint. Those days we called all the guys that never hit the field. We call them squints. I don't know what that word is. Office pogues, whatever you want to call it. This is a street assignment. Even though it's detective function, we work with crooks, informants, all that. Well, okay. Well, what am I going to tell the captain? Can you imagine? He's afraid of this guy. And so my boss, when I learned for later on, he says, well, you tell him that we took an oral, we have 13 applicants, and he did not make the final cut. That's all you have to tell him. Well, what if if we don't tell you the specific answers to why he didn't make it, you don't have to answer, do you? Do you want to know why he didn't make it? Well, other than what you told me, he's been nowhere. That's pretty much it. Oh, okay. You sure you want to reconsider? Oh my gosh, and we just told him he was 13 out of 12. That's how bad it was. Does that make sense? Yeah, he's 13 out of 12. It's like 12 and then he's over here. Really, he was not even that good. Maybe he couldn't take orals, but no, what it was, they give us their history of their work history, 5 years, whatever it is, and we look at the history of where he's been. That's the key to all these applicants. And the ones that, we get these applicants before they come in. So we rank them. We have stacks, we put them in stacks, so, pretty good, not bad. And then they come in and they give their oral interview, and if they can climb out of it and do a good interview, they might make their first cut. But if they just come along and think they got it, whatever, just showing up, then that stack goes over there and they're done. So anyway, okay. So my boss goes, yeah, well, we'll tell you what. He goes, we'll think about it just to keep him. He didn't like him. He goes, okay, we'll let you know tomorrow. So we go to lunch, right? And I go, what are you doing? He goes, oh, I just want him to, I want him to sweat it out. He didn't know what to say to this buddy captain of his. I want him to sweat it. I don't like the guy anyway. I don't like him either. Because from a previous investigation, or previous undercover investigation, all of us had some really bad shenanigans with this lieutenant. We didn't like him. I'm not in a position to do that, but he is. He's the boss. Later on, I'll do this. I'll tell you my stories. I do it later on. That sponge I'll tell you about. My sponge is almost full, and this is one of the things I put in there for later on. I did the same thing my boss did later on. It's pretty cool. But anyway, so we came back the next day, and he goes, oh, yeah, no, he's not in. We already called this lady. We already called her. I did. I called her the next day and said, you're in. Give her all the intricacies of what she has to do. She's all excited. Oh, my gosh, And I would be, too. She had like 6 years on, I think. She's all excited. And I felt like me when I was doing that. This is great, because she's all enthusiastic, man. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to work tomorrow. I said, well, okay, I know that, but you'll be here. You'll be here. Okay, fine. So we set up for her to get the polygraph and all that stuff, and we're doing her backgrounds, make sure she's okay and all that good stuff, just so she doesn't have anything that we may or may not know about. And then the sky fell. Okay. We come to work, and lieutenant comes out shaking his head. He got a piece of paper in his hand. I'm going, what? He goes, you're new applicant, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, what happened? Did we find out she had she shot somebody? Did we find out nothing? There's some kind of secret that came out? What happened here? He goes, well, the department's reorganizing. Oh, I knew what that was, because it happened to me about 15 years earlier, and they decided that they didn't want to have policemen in these positions. So that position that you had in your unit, the policeman position, has been taken out and given to patrol because they need more patrol officers. We're like, oh no. So she's not a detective, so she can't. There's not an opening for her as a detective either. But that position, because everything's in positions, they pay these positions. Patrol gets so many positions. Everybody gets so many positions to fill with people. That position was removed and given back to patrol, so we don't have a position for her. Oh man! So I said, okay, and that happened to me. And same thing. I was going to go to narcotics. The position was eliminated because they wanted detectives. So we're sitting there and go, okay, and I know it wasn't him, doing us, because we called around and found out I called the league. We found out that there's at least 20 or 5 of these positions all over the city that they're eliminating and putting them in patrol because they want patrol to be beefed up, which is, you people want patrol officers to respond to your radio calls. So he didn't do us. It was just to get even. He did it because he didn't know we were messing with him, but he came out ahead to tell us because, so we knew that it was citywide, wasn't him. So the boss looks at me, what do you want to do? I says, well, I know what you're asking, and I'll do it. He goes, yeah, because we were already pretty tight. He goes, I'll call her. Who do you have to pick someone to call her? Well, I was the one that, initiated her. I was the one that interviewed her. I was the one that notified her, so I called her. And something's up when you're at home and you get a call from the supervisor. When you're at work, you expect but she knew what it was. I called her, hi, this is so and so. Oh my gosh! And then what's going on? She knew something was up. And I said, well, I don't know if you heard yet, but these policeman positions have been eliminated throughout the city. We lost 20-some positions. She goes, yeah, somebody told me that. I go, yeah, we just found out this morning. I'm so sorry. She goes, oh my gosh. She goes, well, that's okay. I said, well, what do you say? I said, you have 5 or 6 years on, maybe a couple of years, make detective, and then call me. I'll be somewhere, and you can work for me. I mean, seriously. He goes, okay, well, I'll think about that. Okay, fine. But I am so. She goes, that's okay. I felt worse than she did because it just so excited, and we picked this is our first joint selection of an employee. We got the right person. We had to fight for her because this idiot lieutenant wanted his friend's friend to go. All this stuff was going on, and now we got her, and then the whole thing collapsed. It's really sad to see that, and it hurt. It hurt me. I think it hurt me more than her. She was all, okay, that's fine. I wonder if she feels that way when she hung up and commit suicide or something, jumping off a balcony. I don't know. But I never heard from her again. So I actually kept her name on the back of my mind just in case. And I kept my little book, address book, maybe in a couple of years, because things are years here. It's not quick. It takes time. You got to pass the exams. And I always thought that I'm gonna make it up to her if she ever called me, but she never did. So maybe she moved on, and obviously she did. And that's the end of that one. So that's one of the supervisory functions, and not a good one, but you know what? It's satisfying, and I enjoyed it. Okay, so anyway, I'll see you next time. Run out of time. Bye-bye.